Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's gonna be another episode here, and today I'm pretty much at a standstill with engine and transmission stuff, so I'm gonna go ahead and focus on the fuel side of things. So I've actually got an Aeromotive 340 pump here, all the fittings, the Aeromotive hot wire kit, and I'm going to PTFE the lines, also fittings. So I'm not sure if a whole lot of people know, but the factory Foxbody stuff is a 5/16 feed line, and it's got a 1/4 inch return line, which is like way too small. The factory size stuff for LS1, well, any LS stuff, I think is 3/8 feed and 5/16 return. So it's very, very small, and in order to make this all go smoothly, I'm getting rid of the factory Foxbody top hat. The fuel hanger, I'm getting, well, I've already bought it, but I've got a SN95 fuel hanger, which is 3/8 feed, but it's still got the 1/4 inch return. If that causes a problem, I'll go ahead and I'll actually drill out the quarter inch line on the fuel hanger and place a 5/16 hard line on the fuel hanger and go ahead and TIG weld that on there. So I just don't want to have any like aerated fuel problems. I know that's a big problem with the Foxbody 5.0 guys, and they end up running a hose from, well, I'll show you. They run a hose from this return line all the way down to the bottom of the tank, because this just it's going to have a ton of pressure, and it just spits fuel out at the top here, and it sucks in the fuel at the bottom of the sock, obviously. And so when it spits it out here, it just creates a bunch of aerated fuel, which causes some, heat soaking problems and stuff like that. So I'm trying to avoid all that, and that's why I bought, like I said, this SN95 fuel hanger. So it does have the 3/8 feed, but it's still got the 1/4 inch return. It's actually difficult finding the 1/4 inch to 6 AN fitting, so that was a task on its own. But we've got that. We've got the push lock fittings for everything else, so it should go fairly smoothly. I'm gonna go ahead and on Fox bodies, you don't have a nice access hole, so you got to drop the tank and do everything and put it back. So I'm going to go ahead and work on dropping the tank. I probably won't film a whole lot of that just because the lighting on this end of the car sucks. Plus it's raining, and this roof being metal is just incredibly loud. So I'm going to go ahead and work on getting that removed. Hopefully there's not a whole lot of fuel in it, so it's not super heavy. But all it is the fuel filler neck and 2 straps holding it in, and a couple of electrical connectors. Besides that, this should come out fairly smooth. So I'll keep you guys posted. Alright guys, got the fuel tank out. It almost came out too easy, but it took me about, I don't know, a minute. It literally is 2 straps, and then you have the fill tube that goes into here. I pretty much just spent the last minute or two vacuuming up all the crap off the fuel hanger and the vent tube area. But yeah, we're going to be replacing this fuel hanger here with the SN95 unit. But first I've got to get the Aeromotive fuel pump in the SN95 fuel hanger unit, and then get that one out, swap them out. Then I can start running my AN fittings. One thing I'm not sure of yet is the factory fuel lines. They run down the passenger side up until about right here, and then they go over the drive shaft tunnel, the trans tunnel, and they go on the driver's side, and they come out the driver's side wheel well area around the engine bay. So I'm not sure if I want to run the AN fittings all the way down the passenger side, which would be easier, or put them on the driver's side where the factory fuel feed and return are on the intake manifold or the injector rail. So I've got some decisions to make here pretty quick, and then the fuel system should be done essentially after the hot wire kit, the fuel pump, and the AN, the PTFE lines and the AN fittings. So it kind of works out that I have the motor sitting in here. That way I can get an idea of where I need the fuel lines ran to. But I'll go ahead and get that Aeromotive pump installed on the SN95 fuel hanger, and then bring you guys back. So stay tuned. Alright guys, I went ahead and got the Aeromotive pump and everything installed on the SN95 hanger. Got the electrical lines crimped on there, and I went ahead, like I said, and did this return line. I made it a little longer to kind of go towards the sock rather than just coming out up here. Hopefully to cut down on any fuel aeration issues. So I'm going to go ahead and work on getting this installed here. Well, this hole's so tight on the factory Fox fuel tank that this return line is not fitting down in there. So I may have to revert back to using that other method, but I didn't want to have to if I could avoid it. So it looks like that's going to be what I have to do. So hang tight. All right, I got this factory fitting back on here, hoping it works. So keep on plunging away. There's a fuel basket down in here, and hard to figure out where you're at. So I have to use it. I'm gonna go grab the headlamp. Alright guys, I finally went and got my light. And what I'm doing is putting it in this fill tube from the car and looking through the vent tube to make sure I have this in the bucket. And I do. So at this point I'm ready to put my lock ring back on. I know what I did with it. Go ahead and tap it on now. Alright. So at this point, this part's done. I'm going to go ahead and get these AN fittings put on here. And I've got to chop this connector off and hook up our hot wire kit here, splice it in. But besides that, we're pretty much done with the tank portion of this. So I'm going to go ahead and get the connector spliced onto the hot wire kit and these AN fittings on, and I'll bring you guys back. Alright guys, got the AN fitting on there, and I went ahead and got the hot wire kit spliced in here. I'm going to show you guys kind of what I'm going to do when it comes to the fuel fittings here. So since I have a Corvette regulator filter, there's kind of a bare area in here where the brake line's attached to. I'm going to route the PTFE lines and pretty much put the Corvette filter right here, and then from here I'm going to route and follow the factory fuel lines, and you can see here how it goes above the trans tunnel and to the other side. That's pretty much the line I'm going to follow, and I'm probably going to attach the 3/8 PTFE line to the factory fuel lines. I'll probably keep those, just, you know, something to zip tie the line to. Makes life a lot easier rather than buying the fuel line, whatever you want to call them. They screw into the underside of the car, so I'm probably just going to go that route with it. But you know, trying to be under here with the fuel lines and everything and film is a little difficult, so I'm probably not going to film that part. But you have an idea about where I'm running it, and then you can see the factory fuel filter up here. And I'm basically going to cut the PTFE lines a little long, that way I have room to, you know, route them to the top of that fuel hanger. So I'll bring you guys back when I get some of that. Alright guys, I'm at the point now where I've got the lines made for the fuel fittings, for the hanger at least, and then the hot wire kit. I'm going to go ahead and hook everything up, put it back under the car, put the straps on, and then I can really get to town on where I want the Corvette filter and where I'm going to be running the 3/8 lines. So just wanted to give you guys a little update before this goes under the car and you don't see it anymore. So alright guys, I just got done mounting the Corvette filter and put my AN fittings on. Got the line running down. I've got it on the outside of the car right now. I'm going to go ahead and hotwire the hotwire kit and see if everything's hooked up with no leaks and correctly. So stay tuned. Alright guys, I got the battery over here. I got the hotwire kit running right next to it. I'm going to go ahead and hotwire the fuel pump, and we're going to see if it pumps out here. So it sounded like it worked. Let's see here. Yep, sounded like plenty of pressure as well. So let's see if we have any leaks under here. I know you guys probably can't see too well, but I don't see any fuel leaks, so I must have done something right with the AN fittings. Hopefully the Chinesium AN fittings don't leak on me, but my plan is to just run it up the passenger side. If I need to, I can go ahead and run it across the firewall, but as of right now the plan is just to flip the fuel rails. That way I get the fitting over here, but then this wouldn't coincide with the groove of the intake manifold, so I'm not really sure what I'm going to do just yet. I have plenty of line, you know, to run it wherever. But in previous videos, non-fuel related, in previous videos, I told you guys I was a little worried about the drive-by-wire pedal and making it work. You know, this plastic one doesn't leave you a whole lot of options for you know, drilling holes and making it work with the factory Foxbody studs that come off the firewall. But I was able to find a metal drive-by-wire pedal, and I was able to cut it up, drill some holes, and this is kind of what I have for right now. It is mounted. So the pedal's mounted itself, and then I have the bracketry I cut off of it. Cut it down a little bit. It should mount up like that. I'll go ahead and weld that, and then I can literally position the pedal at whatever angle I want. So there's the pedal. Looks like I will be able to use cruise control like I originally wanted to now, and I was actually able to even use the factory Foxbody cruise control grommet through the firewall. You can see here, actually through the fender wall. So right here, this is the drive-by-wire harness, and the tack module's right here. And I'll just go ahead and put some self-tappers and mount it right there on this strut tower, and it should look pretty clean. I really wanted to have that done before I got started on the harness, and that's pretty much probably what the next video is going to be. It might just be long, boring, but if I can help you guys build your own standalone harness, you know, more power to you. It's not people think it's a daunting task, but it's really not. For the most part, orange wires are 12-volt constant, pink or switched ignition, and from there you put like a bank on their own fuse. For example, I put one side injectors on its own fuse, I put the other side of injectors on its own fuse, I put the mass airflow and the oxygen sensors on their own fuse. So it's very simple. It's not as daunting as people think it is. I think they're just more afraid of the concept of wiring in general. So like I said, I got plenty of harnesses, but I am going to cut up the one that came with the engine and transmission because the NSBU switches, which is the neutral safety backup switches on the transmission, they switched plugs in like 04, 05, I believe. So I'm going to go ahead and use the one that already has all the plugs I need for this engine and transmission, and then from there it should just be plug and play. I'm going to get rid of a lot of stuff. The majority of time is literally, so the factory truck harness places the ECM right here in the truck, and we're placing the ECM in the passenger floorboard area. So we're going to be running the wires through here, so we're going to have to extend quite a few wires. You literally have to take the harness and flip it over and extend all these that main loop harness through here, through the firewall. I have a mock-up engine, so it's a little easier for me to do, but it's really not difficult. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to comment now. That way I can answer them in the next video. Otherwise, just stay tuned for the next one, and I hope you guys enjoy this. I know some of them are pretty long and drawn out, but I really just want to, like I said, document everything and take you guys along for the rides. So I tried not to film too much this time. In other words, I didn't film, me putting the AN fittings on this 6AN line. I didn't film, dropping the tank, stuff like that. I know you guys don't really care to see all that stuff. You just want the main concept of the build. So, yeah, stay tuned for the next video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Share it if you want to. But appreciate you guys.
Okay, we made it, 'cause we ain't played.